Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever, whenever you're listening to this show. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, British by birth and American by choice, welcoming you to episode number 200 of the Patrick Come Lately show. And sorry, giving myself a little bit of a pat on the back there. Never thought I'd reach the magic 200, but I'm very happy to be here. This show, if you are listening live, and there is a chat room that you can join, is being broadcast from a new site. If you're listening to the recording, hopefully you'll notice a significant improvement in the quality of the audio. But for those of you that were used to listening to me at Blog Talk Radio, I'm now broadcasting via Spreaker, so hopefully you can make the transition. Remember, just follow radio.patrickcomelately.us, and that will take you to the new site. I apologize for last night's technical difficulties, teething troubles. Something went wrong the first time at Spreaker. I had done some test shows and everything worked well, and of course the first live show didn't work out. However, we're ready to go tonight. This show coming to you from, again, north of the border, a very cold Toronto again. We're here down in the very low figures in terms of temperature, and wind chill making it even worse. It's really winter up here. But anyway, on with the show. And episode 200, before I get to the main promised topic, I'd like to just mention a couple of things that I picked up off the internet. The first one said, "We are advised not to judge all Muslims by the actions of a few lunatics," which I think is a reasonable statement to make. "But we are encouraged to judge all gun owners by the actions of a few lunatics." Yeah, obviously. Funny how that works. That's typical liberal logic. And here's another one that I think's even better. It seems we constantly hear about how Social Security is going to run out of money. Well, we know it probably is. But we never hear about welfare running out of money. Now, why is that interesting? Because the first group worked for their Social Security and paid into Social Security. The second group did absolutely nothing for it. So how come that's not going to run out? Again, that's regressive logic for you. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? Yes, this is something else from the internet. This is Dr. Sowell, who writes some very, very interesting articles. So if you are Thomas Sowell, if you can look him up, please do, because he has lots of very good comments. And here is one particular short thing that I think is very not only interesting, but very useful, and it's something that all conservatives can use in our daily political conversations, and even out on the internet when you have exchanges with those crazy left-wing regressives. Put these questions to them. And Dr. Sowell says that he's often said there are 3 questions that will destroy most of the arguments, if not all of the arguments, on the left. So these are the 3 questions he says you should ask. The first is, compared to what? The second is, at what cost? And the third is, what hard evidence do you have? And he says there are a few ideas on the left that can pass one or all of those particular questions. So that I thought was very interesting. Anyway, folks, episode 200. For those of you that have listened a long time, by the way, because it is 200, I did a little bit of retro, and the intro music into this show It's not new. If you've been listening for a shorter time, you might think it's different to last week's and the last few weeks. But it's not new. It's actually retro. I wanted to go back a couple of years and play music, play intro that was part of my earlier shows. I thought it'd be very appropriate at this time. If you prefer the old intro to the one that I've been using up to now, then do email me and let me know what you think, or if you prefer the new one. And I will also, at the end of the show, be using the old lead-out music. So, as I said, do let me know what you think of that. And please also let me know what you think of the audio quality. So let me just give you a reminder of how you can contact me, and then we're going to go into the main topic of the show to start with.
If you would like to comment on any of the topics discussed on the show, please email me via stephan@patriotcomelately.us or go to the show's website, www.patriotcomelately.us, and click on the contact button. You can also write your comments on the show's Facebook page. Just search in Facebook for the Patriot Come Lately Show.
Okay, so that's how you can contact me. Anyway, so the topic of this show, and as I said before, my 100th show, I did kind of a fictional story. It was rather dark, rather negative, and I wanted to be a little more positive for my 200th show, because I've decided we need to be positive. We are going to do what we need to do in 2014 and 2016. We're going to turn things around. We're not going to let the regressives get away with it. So I wanted to be positive. So I have teased a little bit about this topic and said it would have to do with my birthplace indirectly. And the topic was what if, and the full what if was, what if I was born in the USA and had enough money and support to run for president? Well, I'm not born in the USA, and until we have an amendment that changes that, and that's unlikely to come in my time. So this is very definitely fictional, but what I'd like to do is give you the stump speech that I might do if I were a candidate. So, here we go, folks. Fellow Americans, I stand before you to ask for your vote. After years of partisan leadership, I want to give you, the people of America, a voice in Washington, a true representative for you in the White House. In the recent past, we've seen the partisanship between one part of Congress and the president and the other part of Congress. Most of the time, this seesaw and a fight and people just really being against each other and not working together. I want to stand above that. In fact, I will execute my office as the founders intended, as the executive officer carrying out the will of the people. How should the will of the people be communicated to the executive, as the founders intended, through the Congress? In other words, I have no legislative platform. Instead, I task you to choose your representatives and let them decide what legislation should be passed. I, on my side, promise not to use executive orders to corrupt the legislative process. In fact, my first act after inauguration, and this is an excellent idea that I steal from Newt Gingrich, is to repeal all past executive orders. You may say, but there are some good ones. Should we throw out the baby with the bathwater? But who is to say what is good and what is not? I would not presume to know what is best for the people of America. Only they know what is best for them, And as mentioned above, you, the voters of America, must use your vote to send the right people to D.C. In the past, we have seen that too many incumbents return again and again and again. I do believe it is time for fresh blood. But on the other hand, I will not use my power to force this on the American people. Instead, I call upon you to make the correct choice yourselves at the ballot box. Don't vote for the person that has been there for years because they make you feel comfortable. Research what their voting record in Congress has been, and if you do not like it, look at the other candidates and review their own platforms carefully. After the election, hold them accountable and let them know with letters, faxes, emails, and tweets, or even go up to Washington and visit them to let them know if you think they have voted on something that was against what they told you and for which they should stand. While not intending to set the legislative agenda, that is for your representatives to do, there are some key issues that I think I can resolve as executive. One plank on which I stand is a smaller, more responsive government. Washington has grown too large and too powerful. We should return power to the states. The states should return power to the local government, and the local government should return power to the people. To reduce the size of federal government, I will only sign bills into law that either reduce the size and cost of government, or in situations where more money might be necessary, I will only sign if two bills are presented to me, one that has the new costs, partnered with another that reduces the cost of government in an equal or greater amount. This would have to be scored by the CBO. I will also require all new bills, obviously not the partner bill that might be repealing something to save costs, but all new bills must state as part of the bill that part of the Constitution that supports their legality. In the past, the GOP has promised to make that part of the debate around a bill, but they never followed through. So I will make it a requirement to receive my signature. Of course, many will find these very harsh measures, especially those in the halls of Washington. But for those elitists that disagree with this approach, the Constitution does provide a remedy. If you present a bill that I don't want to sign, go and find a 2/3 majority to pass the bill, and I will be required by law to accept it. It will become law, and that's in the Constitution. And while I will not force my own legislative agenda on Congress, as a non-party affiliated candidate, I can still encourage the parties to introduce certain bills. Amongst the topics I will encourage are a balanced budget amendment, term limits, and a number of other good ideas that have been put forward by many political commentators. I especially support many of the ideas put forward by the radio host Mark Levin, and he has his book about the Constitutional Amendment Convention. If you haven't read it, get hold of it. It has some very interesting ideas in it for constitutional amendments to rein in the power of Washington. But again, let me stress, I will not impose my own ideas on Congress or the American people. I will just provide encouragement in certain directions. It is up to you to vote in the right people, the ones that have the ideas that you support, and then hold them accountable for creating the bills and working the bills through Congress. I will make another promise, and this is one made and then broken egregiously by the current holder of the seat to which I aspire, and that is to ban all current and prior lobbyists from the White House and from my administration. If this means that I will lose access to some capable people, so be it. I feel it is better for the integrity of the government. On the other hand, I will not support more federal overreach by creating laws to ban lobbyists meeting with our legislative branch. I believe that should be a matter of conscience and a matter of the voters making it clear to their people that they don't want that to happen. However, if you, the American people, wish to have laws that restrict that kind of business, then you too must lobby your representatives and make it clear to them that you would like a law like that, but also make it clear to them that lobbyist money is not the key to being re-elected, and that in the future it will be a negative rather than a requirement to win re-election. And so maybe we can do without another federal law trying to arrange something, because we've seen time and time again a law is written to do something, but there are a lot of unintended consequences. Now, if you put enough pressure, your representatives may even see the light and hopefully prepare bills that will purge this scourge from Washington, and these will be bills that I will gladly sign. I also intend to ensure that bills be given a reasonable opportunity for debate. So if they haven't had that opportunity, both debate on the Hill and in the public domain, I will refuse to sign them. And on that topic, the larger the bill in terms of number of pages, the longer I feel that discussion should take place. So in my case, had bills such as Obamacare, Dodd-Frank, omnibus budgets, etc., be presented in my time in the White House, I would have rejected them without at least 6 months of free and open discussion, especially for a huge bill like Obamacare. 6 to 9 months, I think, would be more than reasonable. And as I said, free and open discussion, no backroom deals, no hidden votes. In this way, only bills that have been crafted in the open will pass my desk. Again, unless it is important enough of a bill for a supermajority to force me to accept it. And I hope if that occurs, and you, the free people of America, feel that it was a bad bill that was pushed through by the supermajority, you will be able to express your displeasure at the next elections. So, my fellow Americans, I offer you no transformation of America except that which you yourselves vote for. I do promise to uphold and follow the Constitution, not just on Inauguration Day, but I will uphold and follow the Constitution every day of my term. And sometimes I will do so frustratingly so, especially for the elite establishment of D.C. But we have strayed so far away from the Constitution that we need to work hard to return to it, and sometimes be very, very harsh in applying that Constitution to what we do in Washington. Because we need to return to what our founding fathers intended. They intended a land where equality applies to opportunity and not to result, where self-reliance is rewarded, yet compassion is granted where needed, but only where really needed, where the rule of law replaces cronyism and false capitalism that has ruled our country for too long, where the power of the government is returned to the people and the federal government returns to its original purpose, maintaining our borders, foreign trade, as well as gently directing those few key issues that arise in the interaction between and across the states. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that I present a very different approach to how a president should act. But the presidents of recent times have not been what our founding fathers wanted. I hope that you agree that my approach is the way to return to a country that can be great. If you do agree, then please give me your vote in the upcoming election. Thank you for listening, and God bless America. So, folks, I hope that you liked that little speech. As I said before, I'm not eligible to become president, so just some ideas that I'm throwing out there. If you like some of those ideas, maybe you'd like to pass them on to your congressman or save them up for debates and visits that you get from candidates when 2016 comes around and elections go into full swing. Maybe you want to put some of those ideas on their plate. It would be quite interesting to do that. But if not, like I said, it's just some ideas, kind of pie in the sky, and I hope that by putting these ideas out there, we at least have some ideas to show, first of all, the regressives, that we, the Conservatives, we have ideas. They may not like our ideas, but they're always saying we're the party of no. No, I think we have good ideas, and there are many, many others who also have all sorts of different ideas. So we're not the party of no. They're the party of no because they refuse to discuss, they refuse to debate, they refuse to listen to us. All they can do is force their will upon us, the will of the elite, the will of the establishment, and I hold the GOP establishment just as much to fault for what they do, instead of listening to the people and giving the people what they should, what they deserve, rather than deciding that they know best for us what we should have. Okay. So that was kind of the main topic for today. Got another minute or so before the first commercial break. I had thought originally about doing this show without commercial breaks, but as we're at the new site at Spreaker.com, do want to try out some of their new features, and that will include running the commercials, see how that goes. So before the first commercial break, I want to say how disappointed I was that yet again King Barry has actually pulled out the race card. Yes, King Barry actually said, some people really dislike me because I'm black. They don't like the idea of a black man occupying the Oval Office. On the other hand, he also admits, and I think this is more important, that the flip side of it is there are some black folks, and maybe even some white folks, who really like me and give me the benefit of the doubt precisely because I'm a black president. This was Obama talking to the New Yorker magazine in an interview that was published over the weekend. So he pulls out the race card. He does say that people voted for him because he was black, and maybe against him because he's black as well. Well, I have one piece of news for you, King Barry the liar that you are. The reason people really dislike you is because of your policies. Now, I'll not dispute that there might be a few, but a very, very low number of people who don't like you because you're black. Like it or not, racism does exist today, and you are living proof because you're one of the biggest racists in politics today. And so there will be people who voted against you just because you're black. But that number is very, very small. On the other hand, the number that voted for you because you are black, and don't tell me that that isn't racist, was very, very high. And so all this claptrap about this race card, you are the most divisive president out, and this constant harping back to the race card. Stop whining, guy. Get on with your life, and preferably, why don't you just resign and get out of the White House? Okay, folks, time for the commercial break. I will be back immediately after these messages.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance policy? Have you shopped your current plan in the last year? If you haven't, then you probably are paying too much. You could save up to 40% on your current car insurance coverage just by making a free call right now. Doesn't it make good sense to pay less for something you have to pay for anyway? And car insurance is one of those things. You got to have car insurance, whether you have one car or 10 cars. So why not see if you can pay a lot less for it right now? One quick 3-minute call, and you could save hundreds of dollars on your car insurance. We'll compare the leading car insurance companies and get you coverage that could save you up to 40% on your car insurance. Call now for a free quote. Call 800-603-9980. 800-603-9980. 800-603-9980. 800-603-9980. That's 800-603-9980.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom112.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom112.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom112.com. Go to freedom112.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom112.com.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. And thank you for sticking with me through that break. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, coming to you through Spreaker.com, but basically the main site to go to, radio.patrickcomelately.us, if you want to listen live to the show. I normally broadcast live on Tuesday evening at 11 p.m. But today, broadcasting at a slightly different time because the teething troubles with getting started up on the new site caught up with me yesterday, and in spite of a number of test shows that I'd done, which worked well. Of course, the first live show did not go well, and so I spoke for an hour into a black hole. Nothing was broadcast, nothing was recorded, so I'm doing it again tonight. But next week we'll go back to the usual schedule, which is 11 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, all the other time zones through to 8 p.m. Pacific is the time zone if you're over on the West Coast. For the next part of the show, I think I'm going to talk a little bit, and we may have to interrupt this one, but this is something that I think is very important. So I'm going to start off, first of all, I want to play a clip that I used in a show a while back, and I want to use this clip because I want to remind us of why we're going to be fighting to gain power in Congress in 2014, and why we have to make sure that we don't have another regressive follow-on candidate from after Obama in 2016, and whether it's a rhino GOP person, whether it's a progressive liberal who's on the Democrat side. Here's the reason why we need to get away from that, and we need to make sure that we get more conservatives into power in Washington.
Impugniamo le armi per risolvere, dopo il problema risolto delle nostre frontiere continentali, il problema delle nostre frontiere marittime. Noi vogliamo spezzare le catene di ordine territoriale e militare che ci soffocano nel nostro mare, poiché un popolo di 45 milioni di anime non è veramente libero se non ha libero accesso all'oceano.
Firm determination, we will press up. So I don't know about you, CBC, but the future rewards those who press on. With patient and firm determination, I'm going to press on for jobs. I'm going to press on for equality. I'm going to press on for the sake of our children. I'm going to press on for the sake of all those families who are struggling right now. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. I expect all of you to work with me and press on.
Ich habe deshalb es abgelehnt, jemals vor dieses Volk hinzutreten und billige Versprechungen zu geben. Es kann niemand hier gegen mich aufstehen und zeigen, dass ich je gesagt habe, der Wiederaufstieg Deutschlands sei nur eine Frage von wenigen Tagen. Immer und immer wieder predige ich, der Wiederaufstieg der deutschen Nation ist die Frage der Wiedergewinnung der inneren Kraft und Gesundheit des deutschen Volkes.
Take off your bedroom slippers. Put on your marching shoes. Shake it off. Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We are going to press on. We've got work to do.
Wir haben nicht ihre Kolonien. Wir haben nicht alle die Möglichkeiten internationaler Weltverbindungen, die diesen Staaten und Völkern zu eigen sind. Wir müssen unser Reich, in dem wir so beengt sind und so wenig Lebensvoraussetzungen besitzen, sorgfältig überlegt bearbeiten und bewirtschaften. Wir kommen ohne Plan nicht aus. Deutschland zieht ein!
We've got work to do. CBC, God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
So that was a montage of speeches of Mussolini, King Barry, and obviously Hitler. And I know I've been chastised in the past for equating Obama with these gentlemen. But I have a story now that I'm going to talk about. And quite frankly, this sent chills down my spine, and especially coming from Europe, because this is exactly Nazi Germany in the 30s. This is exactly Soviet Russia. This is tyranny in its fullest, and how we as free Americans can even stand for this. This alone story, if this were proven correct, I would say this story should be in of itself an impeachable offense. Now, of course, it wasn't something that King Barry himself did, but it's something that came out of the White House. And to let this go without any other kind of anything happening around this, I mean, this is just absolutely unbelievable. So, folks, let me run another commercial, and then I'm going to tell you about this story, because it will make your blood run cold. And let's commercial break, pay the rent, and then we'll have the horrifying story.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish, because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the the difference. Don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-865-5017. That's 1-800-865-5017. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-865-5017 for details.
Why spend more than you have to on your life insurance? Did you know that term life insurance rates have fallen over 60% in the last 15 years? At the Life Insurance Quote Line, we monitor the rates, features, and financial strength of hundreds of life insurance products. For example, a healthy 40-year-old can protect his family with $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $20 a month. Rates for women are even lower. And don't forget to ask us about the new term life policies that guarantee your money back even if you don't die. Since 1986, we've helped tens of thousands of people just like you save a fortune on their life insurance. Why not find out how much you can save? Write down this number and call today for your free quote. 1 5-minute call is all it takes. Call 800-915-9734. 800-915-9734. That's 800-915-9734. Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us.
And this is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately. Thank you for sticking with me through that break. We're into the second half of the show, and we're going to be talking about something horrifying that recently came to light. But before that, if you have questions about the show, if you have comments, and especially as this is being broadcast through a new facility which supposedly has better audio quality, I would love it if you're listening to one of the rebroadcasts or you're listening to the archives, the recordings. Let me know what you think of the quality, especially if you used to listen to me last year and you know what it was like at the Blog Talk Radio site. Really be interested to hear if you think this is that much better. Would appreciate that. But I also like hearing from my listeners with questions, comments, and perhaps about this, my speech in the first half, right? My stump speech for president in the first half of the show, or perhaps this rather controversial topic that I'm going to be bringing up now. So in order to get in touch with me, here's what you do. And sorry, that's not what you do. This is what you do.
If you would like to comment on any of the topics discussed on the show, please email me via stefan@patrickcomelately.us or go to the show's website, www.patrickcomelately.us, and click on the contact button. You can also write your comments on the show's Facebook page. Just search in Facebook for the Patrick Come Lately Show.
So there you are. Contact me via email. I love hearing from my listeners. Anyway, so before the break, I played those juxtaposition of Obama with the two major fascist leaders in the 1930s and 40s in Europe, Hitler and Mussolini. A lot of people say, Stefan, you're taking things too far. He's not a fascist. Well, I disagree with you. They promoted tyranny. He promotes tyranny. One calls it socialist, one calls it Nazi socialist. At the end of the line, it's not about right or left. It's about tyranny and liberty. And they all promote tyranny. And you say, well, no, he doesn't have death camps, things like that. No, I agree. But when you hear this story, then you will have to agree with me that things are going in the direction of Germany and of Soviet Russia, of fascist Italy in the 30s. This is just unbelievable. And as I said before the break, how we let this administration get away with this, I just don't know. And this is not the only case, but here's a very definitive one. What occurred was that Greta Van Susteren told her audience And you know, Greta van Susteren is one of the news commentators on Fox News Channel. And she says that someone in the Obama administration, one of her contacts in the White House, told her to direct a colleague of hers, Jennifer Griffin at Fox News, to stop investigating and reporting on the deadly September 2012 terrorist attack on the U.S. facilities in Benghazi. She tells us that she remembered receiving a disturbing phone call from a good friend in the Obama administration, someone she had known for years. The call was a short time after 9/11/2012. She couldn't remember exactly when, but probably somewhere in October. So shall we say just a few weeks afterwards. In the call, her contact in the White House told her that Greta's colleague, Jennifer Griffin, who was aggressively reporting on Benghazi, was wrong, and that as a favor to Greta, this contact in the administration, her friend in the administration, was calling her so that Greta could tell Jennifer to stop so that she does not ruin her career. Let's be very clear about what Greta's saying there. She said her friend is telling her to tell a fellow journalist to stop her reporting, and if she didn't do that, her career would be ruined. Now, if that isn't intimidation, I don't know what is. If that isn't Gestapo-like intimidation, I don't know what is. If that isn't NKVD-type intimidation, right, Stalinist-type intimidation, I don't know what is. How can we allow that to happen in this great country of liberty? Greta goes on to say, in 20 plus years, she has never received a call to try and shut down a colleague, as if she could shut down the colleague. Of course, that's something else. This was a first, and she's probably never received one to shut her up either. Greta says she knows that Jennifer is a class act, experienced and a very responsible journalist, one of the best in the business. No axe to grind, she just wants the facts. So Greta went on to say that she said to this contact in the White House, well, before I go to Jennifer telling her she's wrong, can you please give me proof that she's wrong? Greta, being a journalist as well, says, I'm not going to take your word for it. Tell me, show me the proof that she's wrong. And I need strong proof. And you need to be very specific. You can't just skirt around the issue. So what exactly is it that she is saying that is wrong? According to Greta, they went round and round and round, including a reiteration of the statement that this call was as a favor to Jennifer and Greta to save Jennifer's career by stopping her from reporting incorrect information. But did Greta get proof? Nope. So, of course, she smelled a rat. And she says, did she see it as a favor to her? Hardly. She realized that this contact in the White House was trying to use her. She felt bad that someone that she saw as a friend was doing that to her, trying to use Greta for a dirty reason. She knew then, which has recently been confirmed by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, Jennifer was getting her facts right. And Greta said she would really thought it was bad for the administration to stoop this low. In addition to this threat, I was going to say veiled threat, it's hardly a veiled threat, right? This contact in the White House basically was saying, if you don't shut up, we're going to ruin your career, which is what it comes down to for Jennifer Griffin. But Greta put this in a post on Greta Wire, so not only did she talk about it, she also put it down in writing. She points out that in the early days following the assault on the facilities in Benghazi, Fox was the only channel not invited to participate in a conference call that was hosted by the State Department regarding the attack. Now, other media outlets were invited. And she says, our friends in other media outlets were scandalized that Fox was not included. And they told Fox all about it. These other outlets were suspicious of the State Department so-called forgetting Fox, and they were very courageous to tip Fox off. Of course, the State Department did claim it was an accident, not intentional, but who believes that? But it didn't stop there. There was another briefing a little bit later, which was a CIA briefing. Same thing happened again. Other outlets were invited, and Fox was not. And of course, all the time, this administration pushing this silliness about a video, which they continue to do, right? Susan Rice was out recently still saying, well, it was actually the video. It had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. It had nothing to do with an organized attack on the facilities. Does anybody really think that it was a video, that that's legitimate? And there have been so many times in the months and years since September 2012, and also even beforehand, when the Obama regime would make comments to suggest that they don't think that Fox is a proper news channel, that it's only doing Benghazi reporting for political reasons, and the administration is just doing what it can to deter and demean the whole investigation. They didn't want to give Fox the facts, and so their strategy was an attempt to belittle and demean the reporting. Right out of the Alinsky playbook, folks. Well, as I said before, if this doesn't make your blood run cold, I don't know what does. I've said this before. We ought to be up with our millions in Washington surrounding the White House, calling for him to resign, torches and pitchforks, blocking the roads, blocking Washington. Nature did it for us this week with the cold and the snow, but just making our point that this is the most corrupt, the most thuggish, the most unbelievable administration that we've had in a long time. I'd like to say the worst we've ever had. I haven't done the research to back that up, so I'll just say probably the worst we've had in a long time. Absolutely unbelievable. So, and of course there are other things we know about CBS News, Cheryl Atkinson, who was also frustrating the administration and her employer with her investigation. And in May of 2013, the Washington Post reports that her own network was growing discouraged with her reporting, and she was having the stories aired. Why? Because probably the White House was leaning on the people in CBS, right? Cheryl Atkinson continued to try to dig, but was constantly stonewalled. Her computer was hacked, things like that. Again, James Rosen was happening around about the same time. This is the most out of control administration that we have ever had in the last in the last decades, I'm sure. This is just absolutely unbelievable. It makes Richard Nixon look like a choir boy. It's just absolutely unbelievable of this, and all the stonewalling, everything they've done, refusing access to witnesses, etc. Just absolutely unbelievable. How they get away with it. Well, folks, we need to remind people. We need to go out and tell the folks. If you're listening to this show, you probably agree with me. But that's not enough. You need to get out and tell the people who are on the fence, folks, get off the fence. Either decide that this is totally wrong, in which case vote for a Republican, vote for the other side. But if you're a true blue Democrat, you've been a Democrat for years, and you can't bring yourself to vote Republican, you need to ask them, can you, in all good faith, vote for this regime and the people associated with this regime to keep them in power, knowing what you know, if you won't vote against them, then please don't vote. Tell the people to stay away from the ballot box and give us a chance to take back power and put some conservatives into place, and let's then hold those conservatives accountable and make sure that they do what they should. Okay, folks, time for the final commercial break, so stick with me and we'll go into the last segment of the show after these messages.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. That's 800-704-1662.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-259-1409. 1-800-259-1409. 1-800-259-1409. That's 1-800-259-1409.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us.
And this is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately. We're into the last segment of the show. I want to thank you for joining me on this 200th edition of the show, and also coming from a new site. Like I said before, email me, let me know if you think the quality has improved. Appreciate any feedback, and also questions, comments on the show are always welcome. Very quickly, I did want to end the show on a positive note, and Representative Jim Bridenstine, a Republican from Oklahoma who is a Tea Party conservative, has said that foundational changes in D.C. politics will be needed to achieve a conservative agenda. We must change the incentive structure in Washington, he told a crowd of roughly 500 people at a South Carolina Tea Party convention recently. You've got collusion between Republicans and Democrats in Washington, D.C., he said. They're coming together and they're making deals. You guys have probably heard of the Ryan Murray budget deal. It does nothing to stop the $64 trillion that will be added to the debt over the next 10 years. Nothing. But everybody wants you to come in and vote for it, he said. He also talked about the scorecards that are being pushed by people like Heritage Action, the Club for Growth, the Senate Conservatives Funds, and he was saying that politicians hate these scorecards. Why? Because they're being exposed. It shows how they're voting and how they're more interested in securing their own election, protecting their own skins, rather than pushing a conservative agenda. So he talked a lot about a number of different things, but as we get to the end of the show, I just want to read you what he said at the end of his speech. What it comes down to is you've got Republicans and Democrats trying to come together, But what we need is fighters. We need people who will stand up and say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. And oh, by the way, we're going to tell the American people what is happening behind the scenes. So, folks, it is time for the end of the show. I hope that you can join me next week at the regular time. Here's the outgoing music, the old one. Let me know if you like it compared to the new one. And I hope to see you next week, folks. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the Patriot Come Lately Show. Please take what you have learned and share it with friends and family. Better still, tell them about the show so they can listen too. Remember to support the advertisers on the show. It helps keep this show on the air, and I thank you for that. I'm looking forward to joining you on the next show. Until then, keep spreading our message. Goodbye, and God bless America.